Hello guys and welcome to Excelsior Academy. So today we are going to do lecture 10, plant tissue culture. So today we are going to talk about the types of PTC depending on the part use culture. So you can see that like from the previous 2-3 lectures we were talking about how the different parts of the plants are used in order to carry out the plant tissue culture, right? So in this session we are going to talk about hairy root culture. So hairy root culture, from here itself, from the name itself, you can say that we are doing basically the root culture. But hairy means what? It means that the roots are going to have so many hairs. Okay. So in the entire plant, the number of roots, lateral roots will be high. Okay. So that is what we are going to study now. So it is also called the trans infection. Now, why it is called trans infection? It will be clear from the following slides, because we actually use agrobacterium. Okay, it's a bacterium. It's a gram bacteria, gram negative bacteria, which we use in order to infect the plant, and that's why the plants gets the hairy roots or the transformed roots. Okay, so how exactly this is happening, we will learn in this following lecture. So there is a certain bacteria of the genus Agrobacterium, as I was saying. So gram-negative bacteria, please remember, it infects the wide range of plant species and causes an infection in plant termed as hairy root disease. Okay, so please remember this. It's not actually, it's a disease to the plant, but we can use for our application. For example, let us say that I'm infecting the plant with the agrobacterium having the gene responsible for increased production of secondary metabolites, right? So what exactly then I'm going to get as a result? As a result, I'm going to get high production of secondary metabolites. Okay. So this will be my transformed plants. Now, how exactly we do this thing? Let's study this. Now, guys, please remember this hairy root culture is very, very important with respect to your exam point of view. Okay. Yeah. So, large number of fine hairy roots covered with root hairs originated directly from the explant in response to Agrobacterium rhizogenes or Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Okay. So, please remember these two. So, this is basically responsible for the hairy roots. Now, the hairy roots are produced by inoculating the host plant. When grown in hormone-free medium, it will give rise to copious roots referred to as transformed roots or the hairy roots. Now, they are the fast-growing, highly branched, adventitious roots at the site of infection. Now, they are genetically stable and it will affect wide range of dicots plants and have some metabolic features. Now, how exactly this is done? This is a procedure which we are going to discuss now. So the explant material is inoculated with the suspension of this bacteria, rhizogenes. Okay, this is small r. Now generated by growing bacteria in YMB medium for 2 days at 25 degrees Celsius with gyratory. What does it mean? It means in the incubator, you will have this shaker rotating. Okay, so you will have around 5 to 10 RPM. Sorry, this is not exactly the ground circling shaking, means around 180 to 200 RPM shaking it will be kept. Now what you do is, after this is done, you take the media into centrifuge tube and then centrifuge. Okay. Now this is, I think some number is missing, actually around 10,000 RPM we use in order to centrifuge the media around for 20 minutes, and then we suspend the bacteria in the biomedium to form the thick suspension. Okay. Now, transformation may be induced as aseptic plants grown from seeds of on detached leaves, leaves, petioles or stem segments from greenhouse plants following sterilization of excised tissue with 10% of domestos for 20 minutes. You can use other sterilization method also, what we have discussed earlier, like calcium hypochlorite or sodium hypochlorite. So all these we can use. Okay. So now what we have done, we have got the agrobacterium rhizosine suspension, thick suspension is present with us. Okay. Second, you have got the sterilized explant which you are going to use for the which you are going to use as a host for the infection. Okay. Now what you do, scratch the midrib of the leaf or the stem of a planted with the needle of a hypodermic syringe containing the thick bacterial suspension. It will allow the inoculation with small droplets containing the bacteria. So how exactly you do this thing? Let us say that you have taken the leaf. Okay. Now what you do is, with the help of the syringe which is containing this bacterial suspension, you're going to scratch it over here. So on this scratching, what happens? The leaves gets infected, okay, with the bacteria. Now, which bacteria we are using? We are using Agrobacterium rhizogenes, okay. Now, in some species, a profusion of roots may appear directly at the site of the inoculation, but in other, callus will form initially and roots emerge subsequently from it, okay. So what they're saying, either in the media, roots will start forming, or in the media, you will have first undifferentiated mass of cells, that is callus. And from the callus, when the hormones are given, it will start generating the roots over here. Okay, so many lateral roots will be formed. Now, in either case, hairy root normally appear in 1 to 4 weeks, although the susceptibility of species to infection is variable. Okay, so once you see the images, it will be more clear. So this is how it will look. You can see so many roots are there. Okay, so this is from the callus, you can see. Now, induction of hairy root, how exactly this has been done. So when Agrobacterial rhizogenes infect the plant cells, they transform the plant cell, resulting in the formation of large number of hairy roots covered with the abandoned root hairs and attempt hairy roots. Now we know that Agrobacterium is a soil borne, it's a soil borne gram-negative bacteria, and what is helping in the infection is the RI plasmid. Okay, this is root inducing plasmid. So root inducing plasmid it is. Okay, now this root inducing plasmid is having a tDNA region. Okay, now this tDNA region is the thing which goes into the plant genome. Now, when this gets successful, then only the plants gets infected and what we see is the hairy root. Okay. So let me just summarize this statement, what is happening over here till now. So Agrobacterium rhizogenes, okay, they have got root inducing plasmid, and this plasmid has got tDNA segment which goes inside the plant genome. Okay. Now once it gets inserted, it gets infected and the hairy root starts. So keeping this thing in mind, slowly you need to add more. Okay. Now this tDNA has 25 base pair direct oligonucleotide ripped and carries genes that code for auxin, cytokinin, biosynthesis enzymes, and the genes for the synthesis of opines, which are unusual amino acids used by these agrobacterial rhizogenes as a sole source of carbon and nitrogen for the further growth. Now, this is very important to remember, please, guys. So you have got this tDNA. tDNA is a 25 base pair segment. It has got genes responsible for auxin and cytokinin. Okay. Now, what are these two? These two are phytohormones. Correct. Now, these two phytohormone synthesizing enzymes genes are present on the tDNA fragment. And they also have genes responsible for the synthesis of opines. Now, what is opines? It is unusual amino acids. Now, they are used as the source of carbon and nitrogen. Okay. Now, the tDNA contains loci for ROIAB, which is required for hairy root, and D in ORF 10, 11, 12, and 15. So if you see the plasmid, you can easily understand what the location of these genes are present. The different ROI gene products affect the plant growth and development in the different ways. So I guess I have the figure. Yes. So we'll come to these slides later. Okay. So agrobacterium infection is generally initiated by the chemical signals called acetosyringone, a phenolic compound. Now again, please guys, you need to remember. So at the end, we are going to summarize what exactly the story is telling us. Okay. So this agrobacterium infection means we know that it is going to infect the plant, but how to initiate this infection also the bacteria needs to be attracted towards the plant. Now this is possible only when the plants are releasing the acetosyringone molecule. Okay, so they are produced by the host plant And now this will induce the activation of agrobacterium virulence genes. VIR-D2 is a trans-specific endonuclease that cut the tDNA border ripped and attaches itself to one end of the linear strand and the complex exported to the host cell with the help of proteins encoded by VIR-B, operon and VIR-D4 gene. So what exactly is happening? See, first of all, there is a bacteria. Okay, so the plant is actually attracting the bacteria by releasing this chemical called acetosyringon. Now this bacteria gets activated and it is going to activate its virulence genes. Now what are those virulence genes? It is the VIR-D2 transspecific endonuclease, which will cut the tDNA part from the RI plasmid and it will help in transporting to the host plant. Okay, now this is done with the help of the VIR-B and VIR-D4 genes. I hope this much is clear to everyone. Now, inside the host cell, VIR-D2 strand complex is coated with proteins encoded by E2. Now that forms a mature T complex. Then it is imported into the host cell nucleus with the help of several bacterial host protein. Okay, so that's why I said slowly you need to increase the knowledge. Okay, you have to see whatever what we discuss is like hairy root is responsible for the agrobacterium is responsible by the agrobacterium rhizogenes. Now how exactly this is doing? This is a mechanism what we are learning right now. Okay. Now, so inside the host cell nucleus, the mature T complex is uncoated by the proteolysis and finally it gets integrated into the plant genome. So here, if you see, this is your RI plasmid, which is present in the agrobacterium rhizogenes. Okay. Now, what is happening? First of all, the plant cell is inducing the, it is releasing the acetosyringon chemical that is going to attract the bacteria towards the plant cell. Now that is coming and see, where genes are there, they get activated. Now, these genes will help in cleaving the tDNA from the RI plasmid. It will be coated with the different proteins. Now, then it is transported to the plant genome. Now, that is called T complex, the mature T complex, which is formed. Now, that gets uncoated with the help of the proteolysis, which is present in the plant host cell. Then it gets integrated into the plant genome. Okay, now once it is integrated, now it is going to cause the hairy root disease. Okay. Yeah. Now this is how the RI plasmid looks. So you can see over here, we have got the origin of replication. This is the entire your VIR genes, which just now we were talking about. And then you have got the tDNA. So tDNA is this much. Now this tDNA is having auxin, cytokinin, opine synthesizing genes responsible for the, they have got the auxin, cytokinin, opine synthesizing enzymes, the genes responsible for that. Okay. Then conjugated transfer, they help in transferring this tDNA into the plant, plant genome. Okay. Now this is for the opine catabolism. So this is like for the opine synthesis, and you also need opine catabolism because they act as the source of, if you remember, source of carbon and nitrogen. Okay. Guys, this is also very, very important slides. Now, so you can see over here the images. So you can see from the leaves they have taken, then directly you can see the roots are started forming. And then later with the more period of time, you can see lateral roots are formed. And then finally, the entire media is surrounded by the hairy root culture. Now, how do you characterize this? So first of all, it needs to have lateral branching. As just now you saw that so many roots hair were present. Profusion of root hairs, many has to be. Absence of geotropism, of course, because you're not using into the soil, right? It is grown into the media. It did not require conditioning of the media. That proper temperature, humidity control is not required. And then it has high growth rates in culture due to their extensive branching. Now, the increase in the number of branches is almost logarithmic during early stage of growth, and thus the overall growth pattern is very much similar to the cell cultures in the suspension. Okay, so that means what? These roots are grown very fast once they actually cross that lag phase, as we know about the growth curve of a cell. Now, what kind of bioreactors are used in the hairy root culture? So we have got state tank bioreactor, airlift, bubble column, turbine blade, trickle bed, rotating drum, and spin filter bioreactor. So these are the images where you can see state bank is there. Then you have got the bubble column. So bubble column means they're always, pumping the air over there. Then you can see over here, see how roots are actually growing very fast. Now, what are the advantages of hairy root culture? So, of course, the genetic and growth kinetic stability over prolonged period of growth in vitro can be done. You can actually culture the media without having the phytohormones. Many plant cell culture systems which do not produce adequate amount of compounds is being reinvestigated using hairy root culture. And many plant species can be transformed using various bacterial strains. Okay, so the different bacterial strains and different plant species can be, with the hit and trial method can be studied whether they are undergoing the hairy root transformation or not. Then plant regeneration, plant improvement, genetic manipulation in plant can be done. You have reproducible and predictive levels of product synthesis. So mainly, we also use hairy root culture for the secondary metabolites production, okay, in larger quantities. So the more accumulation of secondary metabolites is possible. The levels of steroidal alkaloid solasodin is significantly higher in hairy root cultures than in the callus or the suspension culture. So if you want to have the more high production of solasodin, then you can go for the hairy root culture. So like that, many other secondary metabolites were also produced using this hairy root culture. So you have got the L-DOPA, which we know that it's a precursor of catecholamines. It's a neurotransmitter which is used for the treatment of Parkinson disease. Then chiconin, it's an antibacterial, anti-ulcer agent. Anthraquinone, it is used for dyes and medicinal purpose. Opiates, particularly codeine and morphine. And berberine, an alkaloid, which is used with medicinal uses, cholera and bacterial dysentery. You can also have valproates as a sedative, ginseroids as for the medicinal purpose, rosmarinic acid, quinine, carotenoids, etc. So all these are used, all these are produced using the hairy root culture. Now, what are the problems associated with this? So the problems, sometimes there will be an excess bacterial growth which cannot be controlled. So then you need to throw or discard the entire batch of that tissue culture. Sometimes slow regeneration, decreased cell division transformation due to stress. And in sometimes what happens, even if you have done the entire procedure correctly, there won't be any transformation, and you will realize this after 4 weeks. So that much time has been gone. And in few cases, there will be a loss of gene effects. So these are the applications already we have discussed. So these are the few plants which has been used in order to synthesize these products. So you can go through this, and all these are used for the treatment of many diseases. So thank you guys for listening this. I hope this was very helpful for you. So keep watching and keep learning with the Excelsior Academy.